So today's video is intended for you if you started wondering or being afraid that no contact isn't working. If you're a little concerned that it's starting to backfire. If you have this common fear that sneaks into your head and says, well, there were two of us in the relationship and then they broke up with me and now I've been doing no contact because I chased and I pleaded and I tried to talk them out of it and that didn't work. So then I went into no contact. But now I've been into no contact for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months and I don't think it's working. I think maybe my situation is unique enough that no contact is going to backfire. This is something that you commonly hear in phone calls. It's something it's a logical fear to have because it's based on human logic. It's not really based on human behavior. So let me explain to you what I mean by that. It makes logical sense that if somebody breaks up with you, you look at it like two of you are in a relationship. Now one of you's disengaged, one of you's pulled away, one of you's communicated that you don't want to be in it anymore. So now you think, well, if I don't let them know that I'm still interested, if I don't let them know that I'm still, quote unquote, fighting for the relationship and that I'm still here, logic says, well, if they've already pulled away and they don't know I'm waiting on them, then even if they thought about coming back, if they think I've moved on, that makes my chances worse. So again, in other words, before there were two of us, now there's just one. If I let them think I don't want the relationship in some way, then no one's fighting for this relationship, which means I don't have a chance. That's a faulty premise. What I'm trying to explain is that's a logical fear that seems to make sense, but it's based on human fear and human logic, not human behavior. The truth is, it's a trick question. If you have one person fighting for a relationship, you don't have a relationship. You have delusion. You have somebody that's in denial. I say this a lot. It would be like me saying that me and Jennifer Aniston aren't going to be together because I've decided I'm going to stop writing her fan mail. I'm going to stop proposing to her on Twitter. Well, I could do that. That hasn't actually hurt my chances. And as a matter of fact, if I have been doing that to Jennifer Aniston, and I haven't, if I stopped, that would actually increase my chances of having a chance with her. Because when you're in pursuit, you're sending the wrong signal. The entire question is a false premise. You don't want to ask yourself, if she stopped or he stopped fighting for it and I stopped fighting for it, now nobody's fighting for it. The real question to ask is, how do I re-attract them? How do I build back that sense of wanting to be with me that clearly has been diminished? It's clearly lost. So the question isn't how many people are fighting for this relationship. If only one of you is fighting for it, you don't have a relationship. You have a desire, you have a delusion, you have denial, and it hides the real question. The real question is, how do I increase their attraction back to me? Because clearly it's dropped from where it was. Well, how do you do that? You don't do that by reinforcing the fact that you want to be with them more than they want to be with you. You don't do that by reinforcing the idea that if you don't have them in your life isn't as complete. You don't do that by reinforcing the idea that they were the center, they were the most meaningful part of your life. All of those things you probably already expressed, or you tried to express during the breakup, but it didn't work. What is attractive, what's been proven to trigger this second guessing and this need, this curiosity to re-examine the person that you've lost, what's helpful for that is to actually demonstrate and project more strength on the outside than you'll be able to feel a lot of times on the inside. So then the next question I get a lot of times is, but that's not really, I'm not being authentic. If I have to prove that I don't really want them back, or if I have to act like I'm not in pain, then I'm pretending to be somebody I'm not. And even though I want them back, I want to win them back because they see how much I really love them. And even if it's against the odds, that's the love story that I want, because that's who I really am. That's an admirable thought. But again, it's not really based on reality as much as it feels like. That's a logical thought. It's not really human behavior. The truth is, who you're acting like when you're in an incredible amount of pain, it's not really the most accurate version of who you are. So who I am right now, the way I'm talking right now, this is authentically me. If somebody came in here and doused me in gasoline and set me on fire, then suddenly I'd be reacting in a different way. I'd have a different behavior. My voice would change. My words would change. My high priorities would rearrange. My highest priority would just be to make the pain stop. That doesn't mean it's the most authentic version of me. It just means when you're in agony, you have a compulsion to do whatever you can do, to say whatever you can say to make the agony stop. When you're in heartbreak, it's the same thing. So what feels like the authentic version of yourself, which is to go plead with them, to write them a 5-page tear-stained letter, to drop off roses and to get down on one knee, all of those things feel authentic. but they're not so much the authentic version of you at your truest form. It's the authentic reaction to you because you're in a lot of pain. The sad part is that's not the most attractive version of ourselves. That actually looks like one of the more dependent, one of the less strong, one of the least attractive versions of ourselves. The version of ourselves that says, I'm not sufficient, I'm not self-reliant, I'm not capable of living a intriguing, interesting, fulfilling life unless you're in it. It can even feel like you're telling them that you need them to be the center of your life. And as romantic as that might sound, it's not attractive. What's attractive is when you can admit that you're hurt, admit you didn't want to break up. I'm not saying that you should pretend and be inauthentic and come across like, I don't care. You don't want me, I don't want you either. Go to hell. Those things aren't effective. They don't build attraction either. Ironically, what's attractive is being able to own up to the fact that you didn't want the breakup. Owning up to the fact that you wouldn't have chosen it. But then when you can take a breath and start exhibiting behavior that shows, even though I didn't want to break up, I have a strong sense of who I am. I have a strong sense of confidence. I have a strong sense of identity. I have a strong sense of purpose to my life that's greater than the feelings of any one person towards me. I would like to be with you. I want to be with you. But I don't absolutely need to be with you. That's attractive. So when you're doing no contact and it feels like it doesn't make sense or it doesn't fit your situation, remember, you're thinking logically, but you're not thinking based on actual human behavior. And you can run this quick test. Find out for yourself. Imagine that you break up with somebody and that person begs and pleads and makes all kinds of really good points about why you should give it one more try. Chances are, even if you're just running this as an experiment in your mind, chances are they're not going to talk you out of it. You anticipated they didn't want to break up. That's why you're breaking up with them. So they're not going to throw at you anything you're not prepared for. But now imagine you break up with somebody and instead of trying to talk you out of it, and instead of being devastated or furious, imagine that they responded and said something like, wow, okay, I didn't see that coming, but you know what? I'm glad you were honest with me. If you don't want to be with me, then as much as I love you, I don't really want to be with someone who doesn't know they want to be with me. So thanks for being honest. And truthfully, somebody asked me out last night, so I'm going to go give them a call because maybe there's a connection there. Who knows? But thanks for being honest, and I'm sorry it didn't work out. Which one of those two are you going to find more attractive? Which one of those two reactions would actually make you stop and second guess your decision? It's not the logical one. It's not the first one when they made logical points to try to explain to you why the two of you are a good fit. It makes the most sense. But ironically, it's the one that actually demonstrated a strength of identity, a sense of confidence in who they are, even while they're in the middle of being rejected through a breakup. If you can show confidence and show that sense of identity in the middle of that kind of moment, that's actually charismatic. That actually sends a signal of strength. And in a lot of cases, that's actually the more authentic version of you. As a matter of fact, if that's the reaction that you would encourage your friends and your family to have when somebody breaks up with them, that's actually how you feel. That's how you feel when you're not being overwhelmed with pain. Sometimes the heartbreak is so intense that what feels like the most natural, the most authentic, and the truest reaction we have isn't really the true version of us at all. It's the true version of us when we're just overwhelmed by heartbreak. The reason it matters to know these things is because when you're in overwhelming pain or what feels like overwhelming pain, having some understanding, some framework to put to that anxiety, to that fear, to those compulsions to reach out, when you understand why you have those feelings, then it can kind of help you stay in no contact. It can help you keep projecting strength and behaving in a way that actually communicates and draws attraction. Otherwise, sometimes just the sheer intensity of the emotion and the fear, the anxiety, that compulsion becomes its own evidence. And we convince ourselves, well, if I didn't feel this intensely, then I wouldn't reach out. But I think I'm supposed to reach out. I think my situation is just a little bit different. I think the person that broke up with me is wired just a little bit more stubborn than most people. I think with the person I'm in love with, if I follow these principles, it's not going to work because it's just going to send them the wrong message and it's going to backfire on me. What you're feeling that feels so unique to your situation is more the result of that sense of loss, that anxiety that comes from a breakup. So sometimes having understanding of why you feel the way you do and why you feel that compulsion and that need to reach out, when you understand where it's coming from, it can help you resist it a little bit longer. It can give you more confidence to do what won't feel natural a lot of the times. So just keep that in mind. There's a difference in human logic in human behavior. If you want to schedule a call, you can reach me at dotheyloveme.com. I'm Coach Ken at dotheyloveme.com. So let me know in the comments section if there's a particular type of breakup that you want to see a video on, to have some understanding, to kind of understand the principles that may have led to the breakup and how to draw that person back. So I'll be doing a series on the different traditional types of breakups. In the meantime, give me a like, a subscribe, or a comment below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.